Jesus went about in all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and every sickness among the people. The report about him went out into all Syria. They brought to him all who were sick, afflicted with various diseases and torments, possessed with unclean spirits, epileptics, and paralytics, and they were being healed. He healed them. Great multitudes from Galilee, Decapolis, Jerusalem, all Judea, and from beyond the Jordan, and the sea coast of Tyre and Sidon, followed and came to hear him. All the multitude sought to touch him, for power came out of him and healed them all. He went out again by the seaside, and seeing the multitudes, he went up onto the mountain. He came down with them and stood on a level place with a crowd of his disciples and a great number of people. When he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He lifted up his eyes to his disciples and opened his mouth, and he taught them. He said, "Blessed are you who are poor in spirit, for God's kingdom is yours. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be filled. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people reproach and hate you, persecute, exclude, and mock you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely, and throw out your name as evil, for my sake. Rejoice in that day, and leap for joy, and be exceedingly glad, for your reward is great in heaven. Their fathers did the same thing to the prophets who were before you. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who laugh, for you will mourn and weep. Woe when men speak well of you, for their fathers did the same thing to the false prophets. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its flavor, with what will it be salted? It is then good for nothing, to be cast out and trodden under the feet of men. You are the light of the world. A city located on a hill can't be hidden. Neither do you light a lamp and put it under a measuring basket, but on a stand, and it shines to all who are in the house. Even so, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Don't think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I didn't come to destroy, but to fulfill. For most certainly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not even one smallest letter or one tiny pen stroke shall in any way pass away from the law, until all things are accomplished. Whoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and teach others to do so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall do and teach them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, there is no way you will enter into the kingdom of heaven. You have heard it that it was said to the ancient ones, "You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of judgment." But I tell you that everyone who is angry with his brother without a cause will be in danger of the judgment, and whoever says to his brother, "Raca," will be in danger of the council, and whoever says, "You fool," will be in danger of the fire of Gehenna. If, therefore, you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has anything against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Agree with your adversary quickly, while you are with him on the way, lest perhaps the prosecutor deliver you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and you be cast into prison. Most certainly, I tell you, you shall by no means get out of there until you have paid the last penny. You have heard it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I tell you that everyone who gazes at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members should perish than for your whole body to be cast into Gehenna. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off, and throw it away from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members should perish than for your whole body to be cast into Gehenna. It was also said, Whoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorce. But I tell you that whoever puts away his wife, except for the cause of sexual immorality, makes her an adulteress, and whoever marries her when she is put away commits adultery. Again, you have heard that it was said to them of old time, You shall not make false vows, but shall perform to the Lord your vows. But I tell you, don't swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is the throne of God, nor by earth, for it is the footstool of his feet, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shall you swear by your head, for you can't make one hair white or black, but let your yes be yes and your no be no. Whoever is more than these is of the evil. Whoever is more than these is of the evil one. You have heard that it was said, An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, don't resist him who is evil. But whoever strikes you on your right cheek, take to him the other also. If anyone sues you to take away your shirt, let him have your coat also. Whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to everyone who asks you, and don't turn away to him who desires to borrow from you, and don't ask him who takes away your goods to give them back again. You have heard that it was said, You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you who hear, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who mistreat you and persecute you, that you may be children of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. As you would like people to do to you, do exactly so to them. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Don't even the tax collectors do the same? If you only greet your friends and lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what more do you do than others? What credit is that to you? Don't even the tax collectors do the same? But love your enemies and do good, and lend, expecting nothing back. Therefore you shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect, and your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for he is kind toward the unthankful and evil. Be careful that you don't do your charitable giving before men, to be seen by them, or else you have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Therefore, when you do merciful deeds, don't sound a trumpet before yourself, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may get glory from men. Most certainly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you do merciful deeds, don't let your left hand know what your right hand does, so that your merciful deeds may be in secret. Then your Father who sees secret will reward you openly. When you pray, you shall not be as the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by men. Most certainly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But you, when you pray, enter into your inner room, and having shut your door, pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. In praying, don't use vain repetitions, as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their much speaking. Therefore, don't be like them, for your Father knows what things you need before you ask him. Pray like this: Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. Let your kingdom come. Let your will be done, as in heaven, so on earth. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. Bring us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For if you forgive men in their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you don't forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Moreover, when you fast, don't be like the hypocrites with sad faces, for they disfigure their faces, that they may be seen by men to be fasting. Most certainly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that you are not seen by men to be fasting, but by your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Don't lay up treasures for yourselves on the earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consume, and where thieves don't break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is evil, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You can't serve both God and mammon, money. Therefore I tell you, don't be anxious for your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor yet for your body, what you will wear. Isn't life more than food, and the body more than clothing? See the birds of the sky, that they don't sow, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you of much more value than they? Which of you, by being anxious, can add 1 moment to his lifespan? Why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They don't toil, neither do they spin. Yet I tell you that even Solomon in all of his glory was not dressed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the fields, which today exist and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, won't he much more clothe you, you of little faith? Therefore don't be anxious, saying, what will we eat? What will we drink? Or with what will we be clothed? For the Gentiles seek after all these things, for your heavenly Father knows that if you need all these things, your heavenly Father knows that you need all of these things. But seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, don't be anxious for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Each day's own evil is sufficient. Don't judge so that you won't be judged. For with whatever judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with whatever measure you measure, it will be measured to you. He spoke a parable to them. Can the blind guide the blind? Won't they both fall into a pit? A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like his teacher. Why do you see the speck of chaff that is on your brother's eye, but don't consider the beam that is in your own eye? Or how will you tell your brother, brother, let me remove the speck of chaff from your eye? When you yourself don't see the beam in your own eye, you hypocrite, first remove the beam out of your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck of chaff that is in your brother's eye. Don't give that which is holy to the dogs, neither throw your pearls before the pigs, lest perhaps they trample them under their feet, and turn and tear you to pieces. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. To him who knocks it will be opened. Or who is there among you who, if his son asked him for bread, would give him a stone? Or if he asked for fish, who will give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, knowing how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Therefore, whatever you desire for men to do to you, you shall also do to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be given to you. For with the same measure you measure, it will be measured back to you. Enter in by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many are those who enter by it. How narrow is the gate, and restricted is the way that it leads to life. Few are those who find it. Beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do you gather grapes from thorns, or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree produces good fruit, but the corrupt tree produces evil fruit. For no good tree can produce rotten fruit, neither can a rotten tree produce good fruit. Every tree that doesn't grow good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, for each tree is known by its own fruit. Therefore be merciful, even as your Father is also merciful. Don't judge, and you won't be judged. Don't condemn, and you won't be condemned. Set free, and you will be set free. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings out that which is good, And the evil man, out of the evil treasure of his heart, brings out that which is evil, for out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will tell me in that day, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name? In your name cast out demons, and in your name do many mighty works. Then I will tell them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work iniquity. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do the things which I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears these words of mine and does them, I will show you who he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug and went deep and laid a foundation on the rock. The rain came down, the floods came, and the winds blew, and the steam beat on that house that could not shake it, and it didn't fall, because it was founded on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and doesn't do them is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand without a foundation. The rain came down, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell, and great was the ruin. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the multitudes were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them with authority, and not like the scribes. When he came down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. After he had finished speaking into the hearing of the people, he entered into Capernaum.